Greetings to you all from Naboy. Welcome back to this second classroom and the second module of our classroom series. We had to give a break in between due to some reasons that many of our colleagues and members were either busy on COVID duty or on quarantine or some unluckily infected. We won't discuss COVID here now, but it seems COVID has taught us to live with these virtual meetings that are going to be a part of our life. Well, in today's classroom, I am glad to see and welcome our most learned and beloved and respected teacher, Dr. Akhil Sharma, who doesn't need any introduction. Still, I just read a small, very short biodata of Dr. Akhil Sharma. He obtained his MS degree from All India Institute of Medical Science, Delhi in 1976, standing first in order of merit. Worked as professor and head of the Department of ENT in MCOMS, Nepal, PIMS in Pondicherry, and Dr. Ambedkar Medical College in Bangalore. He was former associate professor of Guwahati Medical College, where we associated there. Presently, he is in Arya Hospital as a senior ENT consultant. Today's topic is very interesting, and our speaker is Dr. Devika Borua. She is going to make it much more interesting and easy to understand with her experience and command over the subject. May I request Dr. Akhil Sharma sir to take over the proceedings and also introduce Dr. Devika Borua. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sagata. It is a privilege for me to join all of you. Good evening, friends. Today, we are going to start our second phase of Nabai classroom. And a very important topic has been selected, and that is stroboscopy. The reason why I have said it is very important, it's soon we will know from the speaker everything about the procedure and the advantages and the pitfalls. But the most important reason is that how many of us have seen a stroboscopy? Stroboscopy being done, a stroboscope machine. I went through the chat already in progress. Dr. S.B. Phukan has mentioned that there are probably only 2 stroboscopy machine in whole of Northeast. So before I introduce Dr. Devika, I just want to introduce this subject a little bit. The essential part of stroboscopy is the strobe unit, which generate short burst of flickering light. The phonatory frequency and the amplitude are picked up by a microphone, and the video images are recorded by a high definition camera attached to a fiber optic laryngoscope simultaneously. The firing of the strobe lights is controlled by the examiner with his foot pedal. Both the visual and the auditory inputs are recorded in the computer for assessment and future analysis. This is a very short introduction, just to let you know what this stroboscope means. And it is up to Dr. Devika now to speak in details about the whole procedure. Now, before I hand over the mic to her, I shall like to introduce this young dynamic person, the person whom you have known and you have seen how dashing she is in her work. And she passed her MBBS from Assam Medical College, and then from Guwahati Medical College, she passed her MS examination in the year 2007. So she's not very young. She has got 13 years experience in her bag. And then, even as soon as she passed, she joined Nightingale Hospital, and she's also visiting Pratiksha Hospital in Guwahati, has been a co-author in several publications. She's very shy to mention about it, and I understand that is her probably politeness, and presented papers in Association of Phonosurgeons of India. And thank you, Devika. So I hand over the mic to you and make us more knowledgeable.
Yes.
And there will be question and answer session after she finishes, and then the other proceedings. Thank you very much. Over to Devika.
Thank you, sir. Should I share the screen first?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll put it in slideshow, then I'll see. Thank you, sir, for that nice introduction. At the outset, I would like to thank NEBOI Academics for inviting me to speak on stroboscopy. I am still in my learning phase, so this is also not a very old subject for me, but still I am in the learning phase also. So whatever I have learned, I want to share with you. So let us put the spotlight on the stroboscopy now. So whenever the laryngology has evolved so much since the invention of the IL mirror by Manuel Garcia. So it is said by Carl Gustav, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Definitely we were awakened initially by Manuel Garcia. And little bit of history. Joseph Plateau of Belgium in 1832, he discovered phenakistoscope. This was purely for entertainment purpose. He used a wheel and there was a motion picture like this, the persons were moving, the light was passed through, and people can enjoy a story. And similarly, at the same time, Austrian Simon Ritter von Stamfer, he also discovered the same thing, and he named it as stroboscope. Strobos meaning whirlpool, scoping meaning to look at. In 1874, Ortel conceived laryngeal stroboscopy, but used it in 1895 after introduction of electricity. And he even used it with the laryngeal mirror with the perforated wheel to see the vocal fold. And the modern stroboscopy came after Harold Eugene Edgerton in 1931. He used a flashing lamp to study machine parts in motion. So that is known as strobe light stroboscope. And that was taken out by the radio company. They made it to a strobotach. Then from that purpose, that came to the medical part, that is our stroboscopy. And he also used it in still photography. This is a famous photograph by him by using strobe light in still photography, that is flight in motion. So let us discuss the principle first. Stroboscopy actually does not provide a true motion image. It's an illusion of slow motion. It illuminates different points on a conjugative vocal fold waves, and that is retained on the retina for 0.2 seconds only. And the lighted portion of the successive waves are fused visually so that we get a simple straight wave. And it is the same phenomenon used for persistence of motion principle behind a film projection. This can be seen here. Same principle. The clock that's moving like that, when you put flashes of light, the sum of the parts of the clocks we can see. So that is the thing that happens with the wave. So same technology, this strobe light, it's used in the discotheque where the people are dancing, then the strobe light flashes, we see the people in between. We do not see as a whole, but we can assume that there are people standing there and dancing. That illusion of movement is created. So same thing in the graph, when the vocal fold wave moves on. Sorry. Sorry. So same thing in a curve where it's a straight curve. This is a, suppose this is a vocal fold wave. So if we put the strobe light here, plain light here, then the same points will be illuminated. So we'll not see the waves, but it is desynchronized and light is put on different parts of the different waves. So when that is fused together, then we get a better wave that is moving at a speed. So slow motion effect is created. So this is the stroboscope, the machine we are talking about. The parts of the, there are different kinds of machines. Different companies made different things. The main parts are, this is the strobe light, and this is a cable with the camera here. The audio part of the camera here. This is a microphone, and here one extra microphone is also provided that can be used as a collar microphone. And this is the foot pedal switch. That when that is pressed, the strobe light is on. So we can use it with a rigid stroboscope, rigid one, or a flexible one like this. And in this rigid stroboscope, there is a camera here, and the images are obtained. And here also the same thing. So a technique telescope used are either 70° or 90°, then a flexible scope. The advantage of the flexible is we may not hold the tongue. The person can say unrestricted, and normal phonation is seen without restriction of the tongue movement. And also in people who are more apprehensive, or if there is too much gag, then this is a better option. Topical anesthesia, it's 4% or 10% we use. Some people say in flexible you may not use also if there is not much gag. Position of the patient is very important. So I just want to show this picture. I got it in the net. It's very nice to describe. It's for any endoscopy position. This is the sniffing position, where this is flexed with the chest, and here head and neck is extended, and the patient is leaning forward. His chin is anterior to the knee joint. So this is an ideal position. So we can see the anterior part of the vocal fold very nicely. This sitting position may be preferred for 90°, but still the visualization is better with this position. And usually this position is shown whenever we want to do the endoscopy. The patient has a tendency to go back. So if he goes back, then it's difficult to view. So this is the stroboscopic picture by Hirano's description, where he described the vocal fold vibration, how it happens. It begins this from the lower part where the subglottic air passes through. Then this upper lips are separated. Then air goes through, the phonation is made. Then slowly and steadily, the lower lip comes back and closes from lower down. And according to the Bernoulli's theorem, the vocal folds comes back to the middle position. So this is I have found this in American Journal of Speech and Hearing. So they have seen that there are different endoscopy examination that can be done to evaluate the vocal folds. And laryngeal telescopic laryngoscopy is also said that it is also a good tool. From there we can see the vocal fold mobility, edges, and supraglottic compression. But ideally the vibration of the vocal fold, the other characters, those are completely can be studied by the stroboscope only. So these are the parameters of the stroboscope. I'll try to describe one by one, and I'll give you some examples also. One video may have different components, but I just give you example of one component that is prominent there. So fundamental frequency is actually, it is shown here in the machine. When I put the foot pedal, then the auditory signal that is produced by the person that's picked up by the mic and the person phonates. The phonatory frequency is shown here. The human voice has a wide range of frequency. That is, it may be 25 hertz to 1000 hertz. So it's very difficult to, it's very, vibration is too fast to deprecate by the naked eye. So slow motion effect, it is created by, we can just desynchronize the light. We can decrease the strobe light frequency. Yeah, desynchronize. It should not be 0. If it's 0, it's lagging. I have made 8 or 0.8 or 1.4. That means it is lagging by the actual frequency. So this is a range, 0.5 to 2.5. Between that we can do. So the visualization is good. So first is a symmetry. Symmetry means mirror image of the vocal folds. Same lateral expression, and both the vocal folds are absolutely same. This is a normal vocal fold. So we can see the mic in the way there is no abnormality. Absolutely. So these two are two abnormalities I want to show. This is a very common abnormality. I have reduced the voice. This is a vocal nodule. You can see. You can see the lower part of the vocal fold also, and there is an hourglass phonatory gap. This is also irregular vocal fold where there is edema on the both sides. There is no symmetry between the vocal folds. Periodicity. Periodicity is one of the hardest things to understand. It is the regularity of successive vibrations determined by observing sustained phonation. Irregularity is caused by inability to maintain a steady expiratory stream of air, and it's most commonly we see when there is decreased pulmonary reserve, muscle tension, or most common is the neuromuscular disbalance. That is the vocal fold palsy. This is superior laryngeal palsy. It's very, when we do like this, then it becomes prominent. So the gap is more, and there is no regularity between two successive cycles. Vertical legal difference plain between two vocal folds during maximum closed phase of an apparent glottal cycle. There may be palsy, arytenoid ankylosis, or there might be scar also that causes a difference in the vertical level. Also, if there is a small growth in one side of the vocal fold and the other is normal, that also create a difference in the vertical level. That becomes more prominent when the vocal folds vibrates. So this is a unilateral vocal fold palsy. The vibration is there, but we can see the level, it's bowed, it's down. The amplitude of vibration is the horizontal excursion extent, how much it goes towards the side. So it is decreased by weight of the vocal fold, that's a mechanical obstacles or any mass in the vocal fold, lateral resistance in the growth, wave, or in also spasmodic dysphonia. It has increased in the normally in the loud phonation. Same video I showed earlier. The amplitude is less. And here it's a mucosal wave. There's a normal wave that is propagated in the superior surface of the vocal fold. It varies with pitch of the person. Okay, it's normal. It's in the modal phonation. That is a normal conversation voice. It is blank, moderate. But in glottal fry, it will be shortened. And in falsetto, that is in high pitch, high registers, then the vocal folds will be elongated. Area of stiffness impede the traveling wave. If there is any scar or any lesion in the vocal fold, we won't see a mucosal wave in that. In diagnosis, some of the hidden pathologies like this one. Here we can see a angioma very clearly, but on closer look, when the mucosal wave propagates, we can see a sulcus on this side, right side. So ideally, if it is only with the laryngoscopy, it might have been hidden by it, because we can see only the adduction and abduction with it. So this is an interesting patient, just I wanted to show. This patient is of Dr. Gautam Khamsa. The patient first came in 2012. He had a history of several surgeries done outside the state. So where he was treated for some vocal problem. So proper history was not given. So, but we thought it was a stripping surgery done for some nodule. So in 2012, both the vocal folds were scarred. See, this is all red. It looks like a normal edema, but it's actually a scar. There is no waves. You can see light wave, reduced waves are there, but still it's not prominent. There are scars in the both the vocal. But over the years, he has come for a regular checkups to our hospital. And he has tried in between alternative medications also. And in between, he had developed some growth in the vocal folds over the scars. And that was examined and treated. And also he got treatment, some treatment in outside also, where laser surgery was done. And strangely, it's very mysterious how he recovered. But right now, in 2019 August when we came, so this is a totally a normal vocal fold on the right side. Left side, still a little bit of scar is there. He is 80 plus now, so he is very happy. He just comes for an assessment of his voice from time to time. Mucosal wave and amplitude can be considered together in these two examples. See, on this side there is a proper mucosal wave we can see, but this intracortical cyst is impeding the wave. And also there is amplitude is on less on the left side compared to the normal amplitude on the right. Similarly, with the big polyp, it impedes the normal propagation of the wave. So the other part of the mucosal wave phenomenon is the adynamic segment. So we can see if there is a small segment of adynamicity on the vocal fold. That is very important from the point of view of growth. See, on this side, it looks like a gross edema or congestion. But when we do a stroboscopy, this one moves very nicely on the left side. The right side does not move at all. So it kind of produces growth on the right side of the vocal fold. This is another case of treated patient of growth in the vocal fold. He came from the Cancer Institute just to check how he can improve his voice. There is irregularity, periodicity is not there, aperiodicity is there because there is no regularity of successive cycles. Plus there is no movement on the anterior-most part of the vocal fold. So he was prescribed some voice therapy also, so a little bit of improvement is there. So glottal closure can be determined by laryngoscopy also. Here also it's same. In stroboscopy it is defined complete. Then there might be some anterior gap also. Some might be irregular closure, and the vocal fold might be bowed like this in supralaryngeal nerve palsy, or in presbylaryngeus also sometimes we find the arytenoid processes are prominent, and there might be some posterior gap like this in muscle tension dysphonia type 1 where there is a posterior gap. Hourglass is very classic of vocal nodule, and sometimes there might be incomplete vocal fold closure, maybe a palsy case or some neuromuscular disorders also we can find it. There is another term that is used that is known as phase symmetry. That is between when the glottal cycle is going on, it is opening and closing, and we can see whether the closed phase is prominent or the opening vibratory phase is prominent. The closed phase is prominent in adductor spasmodic because there is more adduction is seen there because the person goes into the adductor spasms. And open phase is prominent, we can say, in case of, because closure is difficult in case of paralysis cases. Supraglottic activity is another add-on point that can be determined. So here this is a case found to be a case of tuberculosis. So here the patient has a very bad voice along with this granulation in the vocal fold because he is also using his false folds to phonate, because whenever he says phonates, this becomes prominent. So his voice is additionally bad along with this granulations in the vocal fold. So after a month of medication plus voice therapy, his vocal folds are opening up. The granulations are also reduced, and he's asked for voice therapy. Then these are also opening up, so we can see the vocal folds during phonation. So it's a very good tool for follow-up also. The another supraglottic activity we can see. The person does not have any vocal fold abnormality. The person going door to door asking what is his voice problem, what is her voice problem. Actually, she is doing this when she phonates. There is stress of the supraglottis, that is anterior posterior closure. The epiglottis comes up. So this is type 3 muscle tension dysphonia. That is why her voice is bad. This is not actually because of the vocal folds. Vocal folds are fine. See, these two are singers who had some complaints with voice problem. They had supraglottic compression, but also some problems with this lateral compression also. This type 3 muscle tension is there. Also because of their faulty technique, the person is having congested this prominent vessels over the vocal folds. So that means it has become a habit to use the supraglottic compression to raise the pitch or erase her voice. So that is causing the vocal fold traumas very frequent, and her technique is wrong. So we could teach her voice therapy to improve that technique and get a good voice. This is another patient. Squeezing the larynx to get a better voice. And see, there is a slight gap in the posterior part of the phonation. So maybe type 1 muscle dysphonia is there. Otherwise, vocal folds are okay. There are advantages also, but disadvantages also, because it's an optical illusion. It's not a real-time image. It is sometimes difficult to assess in severe dysphonia patient because the patient cannot produce a proper sound. There are poor audio signal, that strobe light is not triggered, so we do not see any vibration in the vocal fold. And it's not optimal to check sometimes in rapidly changing periodicity. There is too much scarring, and there is the person may not be able to produce a proper sound. It's more problematic cases in laryngeal tremor, pitch breaks, or diplophonia. Noisy environment is also very important when we do the stroboscopy. There should not be too much noise happening inside the endoscopy room but just nearby, because that also leads to a faulty interpretation because of the noises coming from outside. And also telescope placement is very important while doing the endoscopy. In summary, I would like to see the advantages. It's practical and good modality for viewing vibratory pattern of vocal folds, and it's a very relevant clinical tool for modern era. And the recordings can be preserved and we can interpret, and good for follow-up. And recurring vocal problem also we can record in and study it, and we can advise the patient whether they need therapy. And also during post-surgical procedures, we can check the vocal folds about the outcome of the voice. So these are my references. Thank you so much. I would like to acknowledge Dr. Gautam Khan sir for giving me the opportunity to do the stroboscopy. All the ENT surgeons of Guwahati and outside who regularly send the cases for stroboscopy to me. I have learned a lot from them. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Devika, for your wonderful presentation. And we are in fact mesmerized by seeing the different pictures you have shown.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
But I want to ask you one thing.
Yes,
These
sir.
pictures you have shown mostly are those of rigid endoscopic pictures.
Yes, sir. Because we have the stroke for the timing, we have the rigid only. So that is why I'm doing rigid.
Okay. But what about the strobe images which come in multiple numbers? We wanted to show the short charts to visualize the different positions, because the camera you are opening, you are flashing multiple times, and there are multiple images. We actually
It is recorded as a video only
Mhm.
because it's the camera is inside the scope, so it's built in inside. So we do not have to put an extra camera. It's not like that. We recorded it via software in the computer, and we record the video, and we can replay it and we can see it. And if the patient wants a CD, we can give a CD, or we can make a photograph of the lesion. Then we can give it to them if there is any.
That is what I mean, that if you could have shown us some of the CD pictures, it would have been more clear, because there is a difference of video, simple video with a direct this thing, I mean the endoscopy, and with stroboscopy, there are the nature of the video will not be definitely same, because that is the advantage of stroboscope over the conventional endoscopy. In conventional endoscopy, in many positions, in many situations, we do not see the movements of the vocal cord because of the rapid movement of the vocal cords.
So that is what I showed. The videos, the same videos we give it to the patient. Same CD we make, same video we give.
Because the pathological conditions you have shown, we actually wanted to see these stroboscopic videos of all those pathological conditions, because
It
you
will
have
be
shown
impossible to include all.
at least
So I just given examples.
Yeah, one or two you have given, of course.
Yes.
But probably that would have let us know the how the conventional laryngoscopy, conventional rigid or flexible laryngoscopy differs from stroboscopy. So that is one thing. There are, of course, plenty of questions for you to answer, and but as I told at the beginning, this is a subject where practical experience of most of us are practically nil. What we have gained is by reading books, going through the different journal articles, and that is how it is growing. But you are privileged to have a stroboscope, and I hope you will be doing more and more works in future.
Thank you.
But still I say that I want to see different pathological conditions.
Sir, we can arrange a different lecture for that.
Yeah, the stroboscopic pictures, and how do these stroboscopic pictures have got advantage over the conventional rigid endoscopic pictures. So, as I
Sir,
told you,
this is a video. That is what I said. The vibration we see, what we see here, we do not see it in a laryngoscopy. There everybody knows about laryngoscopy.
yeah.
There we see adduction and abduction. Simple. That is all. But here it's an additional vibration. And this is a basic lecture actually to describe the stroboscopy. So I just kept it to the basic part because it's a first lecture like that. So yeah. I thought I should do it because
that is very well done, and yes. The voice which is produced, the changes we have seen on the vocal cords, but how to just different parameters to be measured and all of those of those videos, that probably I have not understood.
Photographs, sir, there is a software people can use different softwares. So we have a software in the computer. When the video is recorded in ULEAD software, so in ULEAD we can play the video and we can take a still picture also. If the person wants, we can print it out in the photo paper and give it to the patient. And we also give CD of the recording of this video for his future reference, and for his follow-up also. He can anytime come back and anytime go home and check it. Or if he suffers from future problems also, we can repeat it and check it.
It can be assessed at any time.
Yes,
But what about the different parameters? I mean, you have said about the altitude, about the lateral
yes, sir.
deviation and all that. Are all those things also recorded?
So that is, I have to interpret it, then I write it in the
Yeah.
report. I write it down. Yes.
The software doesn't give directly the result, isn't it?
No, software is for recording purpose only.
Yeah.
Interpreter has to be the person who is doing the scoping.
Yeah, you will have to interpret all
Yes,
those.
sir.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, Dr. Setabrata Fukan has said that there are probably only 2 stroboscopes in whole of Northeast. I do not know whether there is any stroboscope in Manipur. Anybody from Manipur can highlight? Okay. So next question is Dr. Kripamoy Nath. What is high-speed video endoscopy?
High
And
speed,
how it is different from stroboscopy?
high speed, actually they have image sensors there in the scope, and they take the actual real-time image, real-time recording of the vocal cord. Currently it is used for research purpose, or in some Western countries it is used continuously. It's a real-time thing. There will be 10,000s of frames of recordings that has to be analyzed, and very minute. And this is only not a true image. So we get some parts of the waves and we make it fuse together, and we make a wave and we see the pathology.
Is it
That's a higher investigation.
okay.
From
Is
the
it a-
initial part of the phonation that can be seen to the last, and it is helpful, but it's not a practical modality till now.
Okay. It is still not in practice, or it is still in experimental stage, you mean to say?
Not experimental, sir. In some places where its facilities are there of research and all, they are using it. We are not.
Yeah, because that is said to be a superior procedure than stroboscopy. Do you want to say yes
it
to
is a
this comment?
superior. This is superior.
Why it is-
This has the drawbacks of the stroboscopy are nullified by high speed also.
Okay. Okay. So that is a superior procedure, no doubt, but not very much in practice, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Now, Dr. Kudus Ahmed has given a very interesting remark.
Yeah, I'm seeing that also.
And the strobe is commonly seen in a car workshop,
Yes.
where a strobe device is used to check the engine frequency, a car engine pistons movement frequency.
Yes, sir. Actually, it is
That's right.
developed for that is the purpose. We borrowed
Okay.
from them.
Okay. Right. Dr. Gautam Khan, please explain glottal fry, falsetto.
Glottal fry is the lowest range of vocal register. Suppose I am talking right now. This is a modal register, normal conversational voice. If I am speaking like this is glottal fry. If I am speaking like this is falsetto. So the frequency increases and decreases. Decrease is glottal fry, increase is falsetto.
What about whispering?
Whispering is a way of communication, way of producing voice where the vocal folds do not come to the midline. Actually, it's a false fold phonation occurs. There is a gap in the vocal fold.
That also causes a lot of vocal strain, it seems.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's
In
right.
psychogenic people, they do it.
Only in psychotic people.
No, sir. Psychogenic, they willingly do it. The
So what
patient
I'm
will come
telling that when we advise voice rest,
yeah.
we after the surgery, we specifically tell the patient, not only that you cannot shout, but you cannot whisper also.
Yes, sir.
Because
That is
that is
damaging
quite
because
bad.
false fold phonation will be there more. So that is why that is not asked.
Dr. S.B. Fukan again, can stroke detect EBSLN palsy with characteristic finding?
Supralaryngeal pulses are it's a little difficult, but it can be detected. Sometimes if it is not detected, we can ask the patient to do a maneuver, E sniff maneuver, that continuous sniffing, E sniffing, E, that will make the pathological side weak. So there will be more prominence of the bowing of the vocal cord. That can be seen.
That's right. As stroke picture, he has also asked, as stroke picture is two-dimensional, undersurface lesion can be detected or not?
Sir, it is mentioned only in one book I have found. So they say that undersurface lesion is not detected because mostly it's on the superior surface. That is true. But when we see the vocal fold vibration, it is detected, but it's not properly detected. That is true. That is why the other this high-speed laryngeal imaging and video chymography has come into being.
Yeah, because the pre-margin, of the vocal cord has an upper lip and a lower lip, isn't it? The upper lip movement you can easily recognize even in a rigid endoscopy. But what about the lower lip? Will the slow motion detect the lower lip apposition of the vocal cord or not?
It is said it is not seen clearly. It can be seen, but not so clearly.
Yeah, not very clear.
Yes.
That's right. Dr. Shagata has asked role of video stroboscopy in functional aphonia.
Ma'am, in functional aphonia, actually, when you introduce the scope, the person, they try to not to phonate. So they vocal fold do not come into contact only. The audio signal is very poor. So vibration will not happen. So most of the time that is there. And also it functions for any endoscopy. If you do in a functional aphonia cases, the person, even if they do not want to phonate, they try to phonate. Then we can diagnose it by that purpose also.
Okay, right. Has it got any role in malignancy? You mean to say, does it help in detection?
OCT and NBI, he has said, sir. OCT is optical coherence tomography. It's a light, that's a different entity already. NBI has advantage in detecting because narrowband imaging, if it is combined with the strobe, it uses green light and the blue light. If there is a very carcinoma in situ, little bit of patch in the vocal fold, that will around that the vessels will be shown very prominent, and that can be detected by the NBI. OCT also can identify, but NBI is more helpful.
Okay. Anjana has congratulated you, Devika, for your nice presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Surajit has already commented what you have clarified. The video shown are stroboscopy video, not laryngoscopy.
Yes.
That you have already clarified.
Yes.
My doubt also. Then very informative presentation.
Sir, one point you have missed, mentioned by Dr. Gautam Khan. The serial pictures are seen in video chymograph, he has mentioned.
Yeah. That is one thing he has said. Can you elaborate it, Devika?
So video chymography, there is a single line it appears. They have did a high speed, there is a camera also specific. So they take an image and a single line appears between the vocal folds. And by looking at that, they interpret the different data. And they can take it as serially photographs can be taken.
Okay. Now, what about a child? This Dr. Kalpana has asked, what about a child? Can you do it? Yeah.
Stroboscopy.
Yeah.
Yes. Usually, I have done 9-10 years old kids. I have done rigid stroboscopy also. Usually they cooperate because mostly I got singers, and because nowadays children are singing also. So they come for a checkup. I have to counsel them beforehand. After that, they actually cooperate. we do not give them spray, because spray or this anesthetic spray they may not tolerate. So we do not give them, and nowadays the better option is available. That is our personal experience. So I've not got it in any book. So there is this Lidocam chewable tablet is there. Yeah.
Okay.
So if we give them to chew for some time, so there is numbness in the throat area. So usually after counseling, they give us to do it.
If you are to spray, which areas you will like to spray?
Actually, sir, gag happens in this palate area when the scope touches in the palatal portion, or which goes over the tongue base and the palate. Between
Also
that,
the
if
base
you
of the
spray,
tongue. Yeah.
yes. If you spray there, that is good enough, because the person swallows it and it goes down also.
Okay, it is a painless procedure. So
Yes, sir,
you can expect children's cooperation also, provided you can.
Provided if they counsel, then rigid can be done. But flexible is an option. We don't have it, but flexible is a very good option for children with the flexible stroke.
So it has already attracted a lot of people. Dr. Tapas Kumar Das has asked, what is the price of this stroboscope and who are the manufacturers in India or abroad? Any idea?
There are many. I'm not promoting anyone. This is a disclaimer. We have the Karl Storz one, the old one, Pulsar 2. Nowadays they have got a newer version also. And there are K-Pentex model is there. Then Atmos also makes it. Olympus also has a stroboscope. So prices, I don't have any idea as such.
Or you do not like to disclose?
Yeah, they can. No, sir.
Maybe.
That is bought by the hospital. I did not buy it personally, so I don't know
Dr.
the exact
Tapas
price.
can ask you personally.
Yes.
Or the.
But during this COVID time, the Karl Storz people were coming. They said they will give the newer model in a very low price, something not less than the previous. I don't know. Exact one, I don't know.
Okay. Dr. S.N.
Sir, there were some questions you just skipped. Actually, can you go back little? Can you go little? Priyam Sharma has a question.
You asked the question.
She was asking which microphone gives better result, the one used on the scope or one attached to the skin over larynx?
Actually, it is said the skin of the larynx gives a better result.
Yeah.
Some people say it in the books I have seen, but we are using this microphone with the scope also. Both I have tried, but I have found it equal. I have not found any difference as such.
One more question from Tipamoy Nath. How to assess the mucosal wave in stroboscopy?
Yeah, I just explained that in the slides, I think.
Okay. And one more question that has been missed actually by SB Fukan sir. MTD and SD can be differentiated?
Yes, sir. Spasmodic dysphonia, though, there will be adductor spasms. In muscle tension dysphonia, the vocal folds do not have any abnormality. They do not have any spasms. But muscle tension, there are 4 types. The common, the easier classification, I would say. The posterior glottic gap, type 1. Type 2, both the false fold will be closing down over the vocal fold. 3 is there will be anterior posterior compression. The epiglottis will coming towards the arytenoids, compressing anterior posteriorly. And the 4th is the complete closure of the glottis. Even with the stroboscopy or any endoscopy, the patient does not open up. It's squeezed glottis. We cannot see because it's so tightly squeezed. The person is like this. So we cannot even see with any endoscopy. So for that, we have to massage, advise some massage or some treatment. After that, only we can call for the stroboscopy.
Soumya sir, you can continue.
Okay, there is one question only, one more question only I have seen, that Dr. S.N. Mukherjee. Importance of superior and inferior arcuate line, importance during stroboscopy.
Sir, I have not found any literature. Can you enlighten us?
Yeah, I also.
Sir can enlighten. Mukherjee sir can enlighten us.
Dr. Mukherjee can unmute and can just ask his question.
I have not found in
What
my
else?
book, so maybe he knows. He can enlighten us.
Yeah, yeah.
Ojabedu, can you unmute Mukherjee sir? Yeah, I can see it. Yes.
Yeah. Now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
Dr. Mukherjee.
the superior inferior arcuate line means the mucosal wave going up to the region. The vocal fold, lining of the vocal fold changes at the level of the mucosal epithelium, changes at the level of the superior arcuate line. And
Okay, sir.
internally in the subglottid is also same. Mucosal
Yes, sir.
pattern changes. That is
Okay.
the ciliated columnar epithelium, pseudostratified. Now,
Yes.
that area where that changes, that happens, that is called junctional area, superior and inferior arcuate line on the upper surface of the vocal cord as well as in the under surface. Now, this is important because your mucosal wave goes from side to side up to that
Okay.
arcuate line only.
Okay. Yes, sir. That is why it's maybe seen only on the superior surface, they said.
एकदम correct you are. You
Yes,
are not seeing the under surface, you can see on the superior surface only.
Yes, yes.
Stroboscopy.
Okay.
So that is important that way.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So I think, Anjana, we have finished all the questions.
Mukherjee sir also asking, sir, importance about pseudosulcus. So pseudosulcus it's a straight groove-like thing over the vocal folds. It does not, and it has any deficiency in the lamina propria. So there will be waves present, but in the sulcus we won't get the waves. When there is deep, the lamina propria is not there. Its depth goes inside.
Yeah. That is an important finding. Okay. I think this is a very nice discussion overall, and I am amazed to see the interest all the audience they are showing, and undoubtedly this type of presentation will clarify more and more doubts, and probably more practical exposure will be highly beneficial. Thank you, Devika. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you so
I
much.
want to hand over to Dr. Sragata for further discussion or program. Dr. Sragata, unmute yourself. Anjana,
Yeah.
Dr.
Yes.
Sragata.
Yes, Sagata ma'am.
Yeah. Very nice presentation. Deepika, congratulations.
Thank you, madam.
Many new things also I came to know. Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Akhil Sharma sir. You have moderated very nicely. You are already an excellent teacher, and here also you moderated every questions very taken up by very nicely. Discussion was very good. I think the viewers, our delegates, are must benefited by this your lectures from your lectures. Thank you very much from NABOY. And I think we need another lecture or another deliberation on stroboscopies because there are some doubts and some there are some doubts and some important things we can also discuss. So I think Deepika
We want to see
may prepare.
real-time stroboscopy being done.
Yeah.
That will be
Maybe sir, next time when I do a stroboscopy, then I'll record myself also with doing the scopy and all.
Yeah, very
nice.
Okay.
Nice one.
Now, may I ask Dr. Anjana Sharma kindly conclude our today's program, and thank you all the viewers also. Yes, Anjana.
By the way, we have 5 minutes left. So we have a lot of experienced persons in our field. So anyone want to come in? So we can unmute.
Yes.
Anybody
has got experience.
You unmute unmute everyone.
All the participants.
Yeah, I did it. So if anyone want to share, you can unmute and share your experience.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Fukan.
Actually, Nitya sir has given a posting that the Strobos is not available in Manipur.
Okay.
There is no person like Devika in Manipur.
He has commented that also.
Nice commentary, sir.
Okay.
Because
Wonderful comment. Yeah.
wonderful comment. There's a posting actually you have not seen, but or others have been answered. Everything, Devika.
Thank you,
Actually,
Dr. Nitesh.
thank you. And no other comment. Actually, nice
I think,
presentation.
yeah. I think after the lecture of Deepika, many our specialists may go for stroboscopy now.
Exactly, sir.
It's a very interesting.
Madam, can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gautam, please go ahead.
I want to make two or three comments regarding sir was asking about the giving the pictures, the snapshots of the different phases of the vocal cycle. Sir, this is not given in stroboscopy. It is given in high-speed photography or in high-speed photography in India. As far as I know, only Sachin Gandhi has got the high-speed photography. It is very costly. The amount of the files become huge. So it is actually more for experimental reasons. So most centers of laryngology also are not using high-speed photography as a routine procedure. So because it takes up a lot of space, there are thousands of snapshots to come in. There was one question, I think by Fukan sir, regarding can you differentiate between superior laryngeal nerve palsy with stroboscope? Yes, you can with stroboscope, but there's a caveat. Devika has explained very nicely about the methods by which you can make it more prominent. But superior laryngeal nerve palsy, because when you're doing it at a telescope, you're pulling the tongue, you can miss the subtle findings of superior laryngeal nerve palsy during stroboscopic. So it is generally advisable that you should do it with a flexible scope, because in superior laryngeal nerve palsy, there is a very little weakness of the vocal cord. There will be overriding from the good cord. The good vocal fold will try to override, and then there will be falling forward of the aretina. So they are very subtle findings. So these are the two things I wanted to sort of point out. Thank you.
Therefore, I am asking actually, Devika, how
Yes,
do
sir.
you assess the singers, the professional voice teachers, without having only the rigid laryngoscope? It's difficult.
No, it's difficult, sir. We can do also flexible. Actually, at the moment I don't have, but I would like to procure it. So I'm in the process. Then I'll be say more properly. But I can simply say see with the fiber optic. Then we can shift to the rigid. But for the time being, I'm using rigid because I have that only. But it is the best way to see with the flexible, because singers can sing also. When you put this is very small and thin. We can put it out from the nose, and we can focus it on the vocal folds, and the person can sing also. So if there is any issue during singing, that can be detected very nicely.
Yes, very correct. And one is the EBSNL, external branch of the superior laryngeal nerve palsy. Actually, Gautam has the position also hampers, but with the flexible also can glottic sync also. They are not only mainly the bowing.
Yes,
The bowing you have nicely told, the bowing can be increased to see the EBSNL palsy. Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much.
Dr. Devika,
Yes.
Dr. Devika, the rigid laryngoscopy, I mean the endoscopy, endolaryngoscopy, the light is very good, and that's why the visibility is also good. The light is very good for recording.
Yes, optics of the optics and is
Whereas
very good, better than the flexible. But nowadays flexible has also come up with a chip-on-tip camera. The camera is at the tip of the flexible scope. So that has also improved the visualization, and that is comparable to the rigid. What they say.
Because conventional fiber optic I have been using.
Yes. No. It is better than conventional one. Yes.
So I haven't seen any raised hand here. So anyone want to share anything? If not, I just want to conclude this webinar saying that first of all, I would like to thank President NEBOI, Professor Swagata Khanna ma'am, for your introductory remarks. And secondly, I would like to thank Dr. Akhil Sharma sir for your wonderful moderation. Third, I want to thank Dr. Devika Borua for your excellent presentation.
Thank you, thank you so much.
finally, I want to thank all the participants who have joined on time so that we can complete it on time. But I'm extremely sorry if, there was a mistake in the rules and regulations. It was supposed to start at 7:30, but most of the participants they have joined the room before time, so we couldn't wait for long. I'm sorry. Next time we will start exactly at 7 p.m. And finally, I would like to thank all the technical person behind this webinar, Dr. Biswajit Gogoi, Dr. Fojia, and all the members of NEBOI and members of NEBOI Academic Forum. Thank you all. So we can close the meeting. Fojia Baidu?
Oh. End kori diu?
Yes.